Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. I hope you're all awesome and well. Good to see a few of you on this morning. Justin is there already. Good to see you, mate. Alex, Sunny Cans. Morning, Alison. Yeah, not in my normal office today. Out and about. Actually, down in my wife's office today. So if all of the audio is a little bit janky, then there you go. Morning, Brad. Morning, Adrian. Good to see you, mate. Good to have you on this morning, folks. Do some warm-ups while we're here, or just a little bit of intros. For most of you, you already know all of this, but if you are new and you're somehow popping by and saying hello, Jason Witten's my name. Welcome to a Wealth Coffee Chat, where we hang out in the morning, about 8:10 each workday. Have a coffee, talk about the world of property investing, and see if there's anything out there. There we go. That might be a bit better. See if there's anything out there we need to pay attention to, or ignore, really, at the end of the day, when it comes to property investing, because often the media love to carry on like a bunch of pork chops, and they like the idea of clickbait. They like the idea of getting your attention, even if it's not real, even if it's a half-truth or even a full-out lie or complete rubbish or malarkey. They don't mind getting you clicking on things and reading stuff that, let's say might not be that good for you. So this morning we might talk about a couple of these things. They are real, but are they really something to worry about as a property investor? So we're going to have a bit of a chat about that, which is interesting. So, hey, good morning, Adrian. Tim, hope you're well, mate. And Nerida, good morning. Good to see you, Nerida. Haven't seen you for a while. Anyway, on live or even in person. Hope life's doing well for you. So, folks, there are three things at the moment down in good old Melbourne, or Victoria, let's say, but in Melbourne specifically, that are a little bit, how's it going? A little bit interesting when it comes to the world of property investing. These things are concerning a few property investors, or some people are maybe making a little bit of noise about it. So what are they? Tell me in the chat. Do you guys know? Do you guys know there's three things? There's three things that the Victorian government has done that that a few people have picked up on and are saying things like it's not worth investing in Melbourne anymore because of these things. Now, let's check in on that. Let's check in and see if that's for real. Who knows what they are? Does anyone know what they are? Chuck them in the chat for me if you do. They're provided kindly by our number one menace. The number one menace, that's the number one menace who stomps around financially with very little understanding, often is a politician or multiple politicians. But who knows what they are? Does anyone know three things that the Victorian government has done when it's come to property? There's actually a few. Anyway, I'm going to put four in there, but three right now for us as property investors. All right, number one. So this is Melbourne right now. So land tax. They've increased the land tax amount, or reduced the threshold, or whatever the calculation might be. But on average, an investor will pay more land tax now in Melbourne than before. Okay, land tax, boom, exactly. Number two, does anyone know what it is? You're going to be charged if you leave a rental property vacant. Now, this is an interesting one. I might check in on this. You're going to be charged a 1% vacancy. How's that shit? Hey, they're going to wander around going, "Oh, that one's vacant. We need to charge this person." Hey, 1% vacancy. Now, I don't know about you folks, but like seriously, the cost of implementing this, to track all these people who've got a property vacant. How long is it vacant? What's the rules? Like this is crazy, stupid bullshit. Anyway, I think it's fool's gold, and to be honest, quite a grotty grab for a bunch of inept politicians. Well, one or two, anyway. That really, at the end of the day, has has stuffed up and now wants to make you and I pay for it. What a fucking joke. Anyway, um, 1% vacancy. So if a property's left vacant, they're going to charge you 1% of the 1% of the value of the property. Okay, and the last but not least is that um, the last but not least they're going to charge or you'll have to put you'll have to give them. How's that shit? You have to give the government 7.5%. How just like complete and absolute highway fucking robbery, eh? Like it's just like, hang on. You know what? Yeah, we've just made up our mind now that if you short term let um, if you short term let a property as a private landlord, we want a big piece of that action. We want some of that action. All right. How dare you? How dare you make money? What a bunch of asswipes, hey? Okay, well, there you go. That's what's going on. Now, is it something that we have to like, oh, well, that's it. Fucking never investing in that shithole again, blah, blah, blah. Now, some people might react like that. And I did hear one or two property commentators saying that. I think that's a bit of an overreaction, to be quite honest. Let's quantify this for you and I. Let's quantify it. Let's quantify this problem in reality and see what it means. Now, from what I saw just recently, the land tax bill on average will be $950 more for each landlord. Now, is that the end of the world? No, I don't think so. And if I was you and you were me, what would you be doing? What happens, unfortunately, this becomes now inflationary. Now those idiots, they're going, oh, why doesn't this inflation stop? Because you nitwits, either spending money that you don't have, or you're charging people you shouldn't be. And what do? What do you and I do as property investors? That $950, you're going to just take that on the chin, no, I'm not. I can tell you that right now. What am I going to do? Yep, the rents go up. Exactly, Alex. What a bunch of fucking muppets. Anyway, so there you go. So you and I, as investors, that's probably the true cost of this one. If you're renting your property in a regular way, then some more land tax. Now, is that the end of the world? No. You're going to put the rents up. You're not going to put them down later on. There you go. All right. So for me, it's nothing to be concerned about. Is it annoying? Yes. Is it a pain in the ass? Yes. The thing that we should have been concerned about is, the Greens stomping around like a bunch of spoilt little brats, saying, oh, let's pause the rents. What a fucking bunch of muppets they are too. Anyway, I better not get too in the politics weeds. The next one, 1% vacancy. Well, I mean, shit. This is pretty straightforward. You go, okay, what are the facts here? Where are we at, ladies and gents, property investors? 1% vacancy. All right. So the vacancy rate, for you as a property investor, is that a benefit? No, it's not. So is it really going to affect us? We want our properties rented out the whole time. So that's really not going to affect us materially. Is this 1% vacancy rate going to affect us? No, not really. This short let one. Now, this one might affect a few of us, might affect a couple of investors. Again, what would you do? What do we do? You know what I'd do? I'm going to put on the bill 7.5% fee that the government's charging me. So you have to pay it. Like, the end of the day, they're muppets. Anyway, so that's what's going on. There is another thing that happened, folks. down in Melbourne called the windfall tax, windfall tax, and also that's the CGT thing, and also the vacant land tax. So that's where there's sort of this vacant, undeveloped thing. There's an extension on this when it comes to developers and land bankers. There's this kind of idea that we'll put a tax on developers not developing land, and when they get a windfall, which is a redevelopment or a rezoning uplift, we want to double tax that again. Absolutely fucking I don't know, just brain dead. How's that going to help the supply in Melbourne, right? Because here's the drill. There's some really positive things that are going to happen in Victoria and Melbourne. That they're shooting themselves in the foot. There's a short-term grotty grab without any vision or strategy or tactics for the future. Absolute fucking muppets. Anyway, Adrian, there's a vacancy. They're proposing to say, okay, if your property is vacant and you should be renting it, we're going to charge you a vacancy fee of 1% of the value of the property. Fucking hell. Isn't that ludicrous? Hey? Isn't that ludicrous? I own something. I pay for it. It's all mine. And I can do what I fucking want with it. And now you want to charge me for not doing something, what? Anyway. What if it's a holiday home? Anyway, there you go. Again, muppets. And again, how do they enforce that? How do they yeah, exactly, Adrian. How do they enforce that? How do they track it? I think it'll be a disaster, to be honest. Trying to enforce it. But anyway, there you go. So what's going on? Well, there's a lot going on because the population of Melbourne is going to increase pretty significantly, and they're going to need a lot of properties. I don't think with all of these initiatives that they're going to encourage developers to get cracking on this stuff. So it's going to be a little bit more interesting to see what happens there. The Victorian state itself attractive for overseas immigration or migration, so it's going up. The predicted population increase for Melbourne is bigger than Sydney. So Melbourne's on track to be the biggest city in Australia. What's that going to bring? Eventually, all of this madness will sort of sort itself out over the next 3 to 5 to 8 years. There you go. Melbourne's still a great place to invest. And what happens right now, folks, is all of this uncertainty keeps some prices, and Melbourne's still going up in value, but in comparison, there's a little bit of uncertainty. So it keeps the prices a little bit sharper, and for you and I as investors, in comparison, maybe Melbourne presents very good value in the short-term purchase, and its medium to long-term outlook is excellent, right? So, let's have a think about that. The rents are still going up. No shit, Dick Tracy. The rents this year up 17%, under 1% vacancy rate. Mind blowing, folks. Just check that out. Like, check out the big, the big 3 or 4 cities in Australia. Brisbane 0.4, Melbourne 0.8, 0.7. Like these are ludicrous numbers. Like insane. A 0.8 vacancy rate. And their trick is to kick the shit out of some, everyday Aussies to try and, make them sell their properties. And they're going to be purchased by an owner-occupier anyway. Like, here's what's going to happen, right? The investor gets out of town, right? There's not another investor lining up around the block to buy their properties, and so then it gets purchased by an owner-occupier. And what have they done, folks? What have they done? They've done the complete opposite to what they wanted to do. Hey, here's the drill. Let's stick one into the investors, and then they'll put their property on the market and get it going. No, a couple of unfortunately unsophisticated, unorganised, unfinancial investors, quite a few, are selling their properties, first home buyers, snapping them up, and then there's less properties to rent in the market anyway. Ludicrous. Anyway, there you go. Stupid. There you go. You know my opinion on that one. That's what's going on. Is it still worth buying in Melbourne? The answer is yes. Bloody oath it is, folks. 100% it is. Now, short term, there might be some, rearrangement and some malarkey and whatever, but you're not a short term investor. And, the value is there. The value is there today for purchasing. It's there in the future for growth and value. So don't be worried too much about, these idiots carrying on like pork chops. Most of it has little to no effect, maybe $1,000 effect on us as property investors. And fortunately and unfortunately, both at the same time, that cost gets passed on to renters. I'm not going to wear it. You're not going to wear it. It'll take 12 months to pass on. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, ding dong, the witch is dead. Old Dan's gone, and hopefully, life might become, rational again. Who knows? Who knows? Fingers crossed, eh? All right, there you go, folks. That's it from me. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. Yeah, it's interesting, Alison. We're seeing Melbourne a little suppressed in its growth because of these uncertainties compared to places like Brisbane and Sydney and Perth. Still getting growth. I think from a purchasing point of view, you're probably going to have a window maybe of the next 12, 18 months of maybe buying a little bit better, the same quality for a bit better money in Melbourne. But I don't think that'll last long, to be honest. It's not going to last long because Melbourne's a good town. Let's face it. I love going to Melbourne. So do a lot of people, and it's a good place to live. All right, folks, that's it. Done and dusted. Wealth Coffee Chat over and out. You guys be good. Join me again next week. You guys know the drill. We'll be at it again at 10 past-ish, 8-ish, something like that during the week. If you're up for it, come and hang out. Have an awesome weekend, folks. You guys be good. Stay well. Remember, this thing's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time. Don't be distracted by media and politicians. Find out the facts and navigate your way through. That's the drill. All right, folks. Adios. Take care. Be good. Bye for now.